During the congressional hearings on Muslim radicalization, comedian and producer Dean Obeidallah was watching from the committee room and tweeting the whole time. Before heading to the Capitol, he had a few comments to share about Representative Peter King.
We cannot forget Peter King's continual statement that the American Muslim community refuses to cooperate with law enforcement. So is he going to call any law enforcement officials to support that claim? Nope, none, not one. Amazing. All of a sudden, Charlie Sheen's looking a little bit more reasonable, isn't he?
Dean joins me now from Washington. Dean, thanks for joining us. You've been inside those hearings. What struck you? When I was listening to it this morning, the thing that really sort of hit me right off the top was Keith Ellison and his testimony highlighting a young man who died in 9/11, a young Muslim man who died. What struck you as most interesting?
Well, that was really one of them. It was moving, and Keith was moved to tears, literally. I mean, to me, it was like the Super Bowl of Islamophobia. I mean, it was amazing for these guys. You know, whenever a person starts out with, you know, I don't think all Muslims are bad, whatever's followed after that is usually not good. That's exactly what you hear at this hearing. It was very interesting to me, though, and certain congressmen brought it up, there was a lack of facts by Peter King's witnesses. He brought 3 Muslims to testify. I guess the only 3 in America that agree with him. I'm sure there are a few others, but the 3 that agree with him, and they gave anecdotal evidence, nothing about facts. It was very weird for a man who used to be a former prosecutor, Peter King, he was a prosecutor, to bring really nothing to support his claims.
So his issue here is that Muslims and Muslim leaders and mosques and imams are not doing enough to help law enforcement. There was one law enforcement, there was somebody there from law enforcement testifying this morning. Generally speaking, he has not invited those people who can confirm what he says or contradict it, because he hasn't invited those people to testify.
Well, just to be clear, the person he brought was Sheriff Lee Bakker from LA, who was brought by the Democratic minorities, not by Peter King. Peter King has repeatedly told the media, people in law enforcement have told him that Muslim community has not been cooperative. Yet he doesn't bring any of them because he said they don't want to talk. Well, then subpoena them. That's what you should do. You have that power as a chairman. Sheriff Lee Bakker was the only person to give statistics. He said there's been 118 terror plots since 9/11. And I'm looking at the numbers here. 77 were perpetrated or involved people who were not Muslim. Less than about 40 were Muslims. Also, he said of the last 10 Al-Qaeda plots against America, 7 of the 10 were turned in by Muslims. So it was 70% stopped by Muslims. So Lee Bakker said it's completely untrue, and he's found the Muslim American community to be, frankly, in his words, the most responsive, the most cooperative of all the organizations, all the groups he deals with in California.
That said, we need to sort of say that whatever community you're part of, if there is an element of radicalism or extremism or terrorism in there, is there some benefit to this discussion, and should it be prompting Muslims in America to say, should we be doing more, or does it not fall upon average people who have no connection to terrorism or extremism to solve that problem?
Well, I think an odd positive outgrowth of this is more organizations that are interfaith. Like I was here tweeting for a group called What Unites Us. It's whatunite.us. It's a great organization, people of all different faiths coming together. There was the rally in Times Square just on Sunday. Russell Simmons was there. People of all different religions and faiths standing together. So perhaps it is a rallying point. Perhaps it is a time for learning, an opportunity for that. I think the average Muslim, even Peter King's people who testified, not one said if a Muslim knew about a terror threat, they would turn people in. Not one said they would turn a blind eye. So it's kind of this ambiguous, nebulous threat out there that it's really hard to articulate. And even the Democratic Congress people pointed out one after the other, where are the facts? And that's what we all want to hear. I want to hear the facts too, so we can counter it and deal with it.
Well, if you hear facts, tweet them out. We're following you on Twitter. Dean Obeidallah is a comedian and producer joining us live from D.C. He's our eyes and ears inside those hearings. Dean, thanks very much. Great to talk to you again, as always.
Thanks. Nice speaking to you, Ollie.
I want to remind you about a CNN